Alright, the Highwood vintage S-type saddles are here. And Marcel and Piet also sent me a set. I took one out so I could show it to you. These are the relict version and then the nickel plated version. But I'm pretty excited about these and I'll show you why. Now we're always looking for the best saddles. And if you notice, this is the HG 11.20 millimeter, which is the 2 7/32 spread. If you go on their website, they'll show you exactly how to measure your guitar. So there's 3 different sets, I think. These are the widest saddles they make for the vintage Strats, and I guess some Mexican Strats might have a little bit narrower spacing, so you need skinnier saddles. But you can see right here I've got 3 vintage saddles on my 64 Strat, and then I've got 3 Callahan saddles, and I'm going to replace these 3 with 3 of the relic ones to match my old ones a little better. But we're going to go microscopic on these things, and I'll show you what I like about the design, and we'll just have to wait and see. The proof is in the pudding, right? Okay, here are the selling points. Features: no more hand palm injuries from your screws sticking up and cutting you. Keeps original S-type tone, better sustain, quicker attack, vintage appearance, nickel plated, notched for easy string bending. And I think there might even be a couple of other features that they didn't list here that I've talked to them about. And then I've noticed a couple of other things that we'll see how they work out. This is a Callahan bridge piece, and you can see the design, larger string slot right here, so that the string doesn't hit in this contact point right at the front, which the old vintage saddles did, and everybody claimed that's a point of friction that can make your guitar go out of tune. And so all the new saddles have the longer slot. This is the raw vintage. You see all the grooves that I was trying to prevent. That's why hardness is somewhat of an important factor, even though Highwood claims, and I think they're right, that the Callahan bridge pieces saddles are too hard. They're 110 Rockwell, which is really hard. And I think they settled, I sent Marcel an email, but I think they settled on around 50, which is still hard. And I mean, you know, Callahan did it so that you wouldn't cut grooves. Callahan coated them in copper, so it's real soft, so you can easily cut the grooves in the Callahans too, even if they're hard. See all the grooves are cut. So let's get to the design of the Highwood. Let's put these side by side. I really like, notice how the top is a little more rounded and not as pointy where the string goes across the top there. That might be a good thing. I think it might minimize string breakage. That was one of the features that I thought might be great. And I love, see how it wraps around, and the screws are really just screwed into the lower holes, which is really cool. That was a smart design. So you do screw, there are threads in the top hole, you screw through. You notice that the screws are a lot shorter because they can go all the way through the top, but the bottom, I mean, right now these two will probably be about the same height on my guitar if I were to put them on. So you can see that the shorter screws keep you from hitting your hand on those long screws. I don't really have this problem on my Strats where they're sticking up, but if you do, you know what it means to hit one of these. It can really hurt. They're pretty sharp. I'll compare these to the raw vintage. And I'm thinking the rounder top is going to keep the strings from breaking as easily. And that little groove that they cut in there for the string, I think might prevent cutting the grooves that you cut normally on a regular saddle. So I'm hoping those grooves help minimize saddle grooving. And even if it does groove some, I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but it's going to take months of playing before I figure that out. But the tops, let's see if we can see, they're just a little bit, they have the same mass. They cut the long string groove in there, but with that extra wraparound, they have the same mass as a vintage saddle. And unfortunately, I didn't bring any vintage saddles with me. They're all on my guitar. And they did send me a bag of long screws. If you do need longer screws, they can send those to you, but I honestly don't think you're going to need them. Now, I usually don't have any problems with the wound strings because they don't tend to dig grooves into the saddles, and these old Fender saddles have always been good. But you see how short the string slot is, and you can see how the string is bending right there. So that's a point of contact, and when you're doing your whammy bar, the string could actually get hung up there, which isn't a good thing. So with the longer slots, the string doesn't hit. Now, I've had some different ideas on that approach. I was thinking at one point Fender may have done that on purpose because that changes the string angle a little bit. It minimizes it over the top of the saddle. But then you realize as you go down, some of these, well, these have the longer slots. I can't really show you there, but normally on even a vintage saddle, the string doesn't always hit that slot, even on the shorter slot. So my theory is probably wrong. So the longer string slots here are probably a good thing. And with the rounder saddle tops, I think it's all going to average out here. But we're going to put them on right now. I'll get a little hair in there. One thing I wanted to do real quick before I change the saddles, and I'm not going to be able to show you exactly, but I'm taking my little Stumax string gauge and I'm measuring the height of the string at the 17th fret, which is right about where the body starts. And it's generally around 4/64, so a little over. I usually have it a little higher than that, maybe 5/64. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to show you. But that's an easy way when you adjust the height of your new saddles or set up your guitar. You just go above the fret, and that way you'll get the radius correct above the frets. I'm just showing you some old funky guitar here. Alright, get the G string off. Take these off. I gotta be careful. Try to keep these things as vintage as possible, and I leave the old adjustment screws on there. So I don't want to get them mixed up. I've got the old springs. I'll probably just reuse this spring. Yeah. I think that's looks like an old screw too. So Alright, well, I'm going to probably should just leave the screws like they are, but it's easier, I won't lose them like this. Where's the magnet when you need it? You just kind of eyeball the intonation. I can see I'm going to have to adjust those screws a little bit. Generally this one's going to be a little bit. There we go. Set the height a little more. Looks pretty good. Put the string on now. Yeah, tilted to get you in there good. That's the 15G that I always use. Haven't wound it yet. I just wanted to show you that I always try to get those set screws even, because you want them to both make solid contact on the plate. Well, that's a real good picture of crud, huh? Wow. Some of that's that dry lube I was using. I'm glad I got away with from that. The grease is so much easier to use, the super lube, and it's so much cleaner. Alright, there it is. I think I might even lower my strings just a hair above 4/64. I think I had them too high. You just have to play with it. I don't want it to fret out, and sometimes I raise them up too high. But I like that groove. It really does feel good. I think you'll be happy with these for sure. It's probably all I'm going to use from now on. Now we'll go play them. Alright, I tell you what, and I'm really loving these things. I wish I'd have thought about them 20 years ago. And talked to Marcel, and he said it took him 60 years to come up with the design. I don't know if that means he's 60 or he's been working on it and he's 80. It does seem like it's easier to bend the strings, and since they're in that groove, they just feel so solid. I'm working on house burning down. That's not an easy one. I think I've got my phaser on. That Jimmyism, I'll just throw that in there, is where he goes, you know, this up here. Oh, I got the wah-wah on, I wonder. That Jimmyism where he does this, it's double track, so it's really hard because he's doing it down here too. See, his a B and the E open, but I just love the way it sounds when he does it. That's a little sloppy, but you get the idea. Either way, you guys get you some of these. I'm telling you, these are it. Finally, somebody came up with a great design. I'm so happy. Thank you, Highwood Guitars. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.